Every new year, we promise ourselves we're going to eat better, drink less, maybe even exercise more. Sound familiar? But just a few weeks later, most of us are back to our old ways, almost three-quarters of us. This year, things are going to be a bit different. I'm challenging you to this. I want you to start with the food that you put into your body. Mark MacDonald is here. We're very excited. He's creator of the Venice Nutrition Program and the author of Body Confidence. You see it there. People should read this book, by the way. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You know, this is New Year's resolution time. A lot of people have made them, and by the end of this month, a lot of people have already broken them.
Yeah.
One of the most common ones is, I want to go on a diet, I want to lose weight. What do you say to people who come to you and say, that's my goal?
Well, most people, we hit our tipping point. I call it a point where your weight's higher than it's supposed to be, clothes are too tight, and we get so upset about that we just start cutting everything. So when someone wants a diet, they think they have to give up their carbs, they have to cut their calories, they have to ramp up their exercise, and as you said, 30 days later, 60 days later, life pushes back. So what I share is that let's get a better way. Let's educate you on how to pace yourself better, stabilize your blood sugar, and actually teach you how to take the food you love, work them into your day, and then get the right exercise in.
People think about calories in, calories out, which is not a bad way to think about things.
Yeah.
But just how important is blood sugar and then also the insulin response? Because blood sugar goes up and insulin responds. How important is that whole thing?
Well, it's all, when we talk about our first breath we take, I want you to think of a baby. A baby feeds every 3 to 4 hours. They have breast milk or formula, which is protein, fat, carbohydrates.
Right.
They stop eating when they're satisfied. They eat again when they're hungry.
Right.
The first year of life,
pretty good model.
That's how our body creates energy.
Right,
It's all about stabilizing our blood sugar. Then come the second year of life, we go see our doctor and everything can shift a bit and we can start moving more to eating 3 meals a day. But there's a cost. Every time you miss a meal, your body burns muscle, not fat, slows down your metabolism. And then when we're hungry, we're not craving chicken or tuna. We're craving pizza, donuts, and that spikes our blood sugar, makes us store fat. So stabilizing your blood sugar, rather than using nutrition to lose weight, let's stabilize our blood sugar and use it to create internal hormonal balance, which releases your stored fat.
This is a really important point, right? Because what you're saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, is certainly don't skip meals. If anything, maybe eat more meals throughout the day. And when you do eat the meals, make sure you're not suddenly spiking your blood sugar. Don't eat things that are going to just cause those sudden spikes.
Exactly. Our body's a refuels-it-goes machine. And the only thing we're great at storing that, as you know, is fat. So whenever we miss meals and we don't eat, like the whole calories in versus calories out, a lot of times people think, well, if I'm eating 1,000 calories or 2,000 calories a day, it doesn't matter if I do it in 1 meal or 5 meals. It does matter. It makes the difference. And the way we have to feed ourselves is those consistent meals, but not food you don't enjoy. When people diet, like I grew up, my mom was a chronic dieter. And every night at the dinner table, her and my sister Lori ate their diet foods. And then me, my dad, and my other sister ate the good food. It doesn't have to be like that. You just have to understand food. And once you understand it, you eat your proteins, your carbs, and your fats that you like, and you work it into your day.
So you're not asking people to change their lives on their heads or deprive themselves necessarily. What about exercise? How do you, when you sit down and write a book like the one that you've written, how do you sort of talk about the role of exercise in all this?
So nutrition, stable blood sugar, releases stored fat, and then your exercise burns that fat up in your muscle. So the goal with exercise is to activate as much muscle as possible. The majority of people, when they exercise, is they do one thing. They'll either walk 5 days a week or 4 days a week for 30 minutes. They're not diversifying their exercise enough, so they're not recruiting it. So you need to do some of that fat-burning cardio, like walking on a treadmill, climbing some hills. You need to do some high-intensity cardio, like spinning or sprinting. That works a different muscle fiber. And then you need to add some strength training. So it's not about doing more. It's about being smarter at what you do and starting to understand that in that same 5 hours, let's make sure that you're activating as much muscle as possible to burn that fat up.
Yeah, you're revving up the engine, right? And people talk about your basal metabolic rate, which is how many calories you're burning when you're just sitting here talking to me. You'd like your body to be working for you at those times, and that's where the muscle comes into play.
Exactly. And with stable blood sugar, you're not burning muscle. And with the right exercise, you're increasing your muscle mass, so you actually reprogram your metabolism. I think the big thing with diets is we're just focused on a different mindset. We think we have to suffer, we think we have to cut, and we want it to come off right away. My invitation is this, that, okay, let's say anyone can lose weight. Let's say you lose weight in 2 months and then you gain it all back. Imagine dropping a little bit slower, but 4 months later, it's permanent. I think that's how we have to start looking at it.
I think everybody would like that. So just simply, I mean, people do fall off the wagon quite a bit when it comes to diets. Should they tell everybody they're on they're making these changes in their lives, not on a diet necessarily, but making changes and have people hold them accountable, just from a psychological perspective, what works?
Definitely. I think people should share it with everyone. I think a lot of times clients would come to me and they'll say, like a wife will say, how do I get my husband on the program?
Right.
When I say live the program, lead by example,
Yeah.
but a lot of times the reason why people don't do diets is because the people who are dieting are suffering. Their energy's horrible, they're craving sugar, they're not happy. If you do it the right way, you should be enjoying your food. You should be loving your exercise. And then you make it a community feeling. You include your families and friends. Dieting is all about alienation. If you stabilize your blood sugar, you implement the right exercise, you can and will permanently reprogram your metabolism and include everyone with you.
What about things like alcohol, sweets, desserts, and things like that? Do you have certain things that you say are absolutely off limits?
No, to me, that's the hardest thing is when people say it's all or none, that you can't have it. I will never say you can't have anything. I'm going to educate you on it.
Right.
Chelsea Handler, a dear friend of mine, wrote the foreword of the book.
Yeah.
And what I love about Chelsea, she's busy. But Chelsea makes her health her priority. She eats consistently, she exercises consistently, and she enjoys alcohol.
Right.
So it's not that you can't have it, you just have to learn what adjustments to make with your food. So for example, if you're going to have vodka, then you want to, at dinner, you want to avoid the starchy carbohydrates. So you just do protein, fat, like salmon, asparagus. Salmon's got your protein, your fat, and some vodka. It's not an even exchange, but it helps minimize the damage in fat storage.
It requires a little bit of planning, but it's well worth it. What did you have for breakfast today?
Well, I had some oatmeal with some egg whites and 2 whole eggs.
And are you one of these guys who does eat several times throughout the day?
Yeah, I live what I teach. To me, you have to. So I love food, and I enjoy my food. That's the biggest thing. When I used to fitness model, and I dieted, I suffered, and I hated my food. I love every meal. You know, I love my chicken. I put some herbs on it. I put some salt-free spices. I love my oatmeal. I love my veggies. You know, all these things, I'm enjoying my food, which makes me want to stay on plan.
It's a great read. Thanks for being here. I love the fact that you practice what you preach. I mean, it's really important, and hopefully people will get a lot out of it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.